Good evening, and welcome to Educate Our Youth Live broadcast. I'm your host, Janet Keith Thompson. I'm the co-founder of the Mamie Keith and Aline Bradley Educational Foundation, LLC. And our mission, also known as Educate Our Youth. The mission of Educate Our Youth is to make college more accessible through education, mentoring, professional development, and by any other means available to students by offering programs such as the SAT, ACT, workshops, tour college campuses, assist with applying for financial aid, young entrepreneurship, and academics over academics, and financial literacy. Our guest this afternoon is Ms. Mary Francis Lembke. She is the mission counselor and recruiter from Tuskegee University. Our second guest this afternoon is Ms. Zion Hill. Zion is Ms. Junior Tuskegee, and she's an animal science student. Zion also has connections to Conway. She is the daughter of Tish Jones Wilkes and the granddaughter of Skeek and Yvonne Jones. So let's welcome them both aboard. So we're going to start talking about Tuskegee. I believe, Mary Francis, you have a clip you want to show our guests.
Yeah, I'll just get started by showing a quick video called Why Tuskegee, just kind of broad strokes overview of a lot of the things the university has to offer and why students, staff, and faculty say Tuskegee is a unique and amazing place. So I'll just quickly share.
All right. That was nice. So I see you have a museum on campus. And was that Booker T. Washington House?
Yeah. So on the outskirts of campus, or as you're on the main road.
So is it an historical landmark, or is it used by the students?
Yeah, so it's a historical landmark, and in fact, the entire university is actually a national historical site. So that's incorporated into the kind of the zone.
Oh, okay, sounds great. So tell me, what are the criteria for admission into Tuskegee University?
Right. So the criteria to get into Tuskegee, we kind of like to view it as like a benchmark. So the benchmark that we set is a 3.0 unweighted GPA. And for test scores, a 21 on the ACT and a 1080 on the SAT. Now, like many universities, because of COVID, we are continuing to be test optional. We were test optional last cycle as well. So those requirements changed just a little bit. So
Okay.
you have the standard, which is that 3.0, the 21 ACT, 1080 SAT, and then for test optional, a minimum 3.0, and then you have to submit an essay and then submit a letter of recommendation.
Okay, so Zion, was admissions easy for you when you started?
Yes, I believe it was easy. I know um I did my what do you call it, application for more than one school
Okay.
when I was applying. So Tuskegee was one of my options. That yeah, so I got my letter back, I believe, like close to school, but yeah, it was pretty easy, I believe. The application was easy, it was simple, it wasn't difficult or anything.
Oh, great, great. So, so Mary Francis, was the first year? What should a freshman expect for the first year? And I guess I should be asking Zion that. But what is the process for freshmen the first year after admissions?
Yeah, so in terms of what to expect for your first year, there are some core classes that need to be completed. Some of that can be kind of avoided depending on if you've taken dual enrollment or AP credits, but that's just something that most freshmen should expect. Even if you've gotten through some of the initial requirements, depending on your major, you'll have to take those stepping stone classes so that you can move into the more advanced stages of your degree. Also, you can expect to be supported. That's one thing that's great about Tuskegee is that they have a lot of built-in support systems like your academic advisor and student tutoring, career services, mental health counseling. So those are all at your disposal from your first year onward.
Oh, okay, okay, great. So the students have access to not only for mental health or physical health or whatever, they have access to administrators, the registrar's office. They have a good, I guess you said, a good family base on that
Right.
campus.
Right. Professors are, yeah, it's an 11 to 1 student to faculty ratio. So your professors are not inaccessible. Tuskegee is definitely a close knit community. I think the amount of undergraduate students we have right now is around 2,200.
Oh,
So, you won't get lost in the crowd and you have many opportunities if you need help or if you just want to get to know your professors to contact them.
do you offer auditions or essays as part of the admission process?
So it kind of depends on what you're majoring in. I know that music requires an audition, and the professional phase of the architecture school, which is after you've been there for 2 years, I believe, requires you to present a portfolio. And I'm trying to think of others that require an audition to start. I think really music is the only one that
Okay.
absolutely needs a audition, and then you have to audition to get into the band and the choir.
Oh, okay. So Zion, why did you choose Tuskegee?
Mainly because of the veterinarian school, because I'm
Okay.
animal science. So I definitely wanted a, inside opportunity to get into the vet school, not to necessarily get me in, but, an easier route to get in instead
Right.
of changing schools midway. But yeah, I would say the veterinary program is my main thing. That's why I came there.
Oh, okay. So you like working with animals, huh?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Mary, let's talk about the financial aid part of attending school because there's a lot of students that don't have the money to go. What does Tuskegee offer students from low income homes?
Right. Tuskegee offers students a variety of ways of financing their education as well as making it affordable. So, first and foremost, when you apply to Tuskegee, merit based aid is, I will say, with a caveat, almost always applied to your financial package.
Okay.
The caveat is if we, kind of reach the end of the allocated merit. So, for example, if I'm a student applying on the first day that we open the application and I meet the criteria for GPA and test scores, then that merit-based aid is applied automatically. So you don't have to go through a separate scholarship process in order to get our merit-based aid. Another important thing to note is that both our test optional and standard students are eligible for merit-based aid. So just because you don't have an SAT or ACT doesn't mean you can't access those funds. It's just a different process of evaluating the scholarship and determining what tier you fall into, because we have 5 tiers of scholarship ranging from full tuition to fees, and let me see, the ranging from that to about $5,000 in housing.
Okay.
And also, in addition to that, you have the FAFSA to fill out, which will open up the doors for grants like the Pell Grant. And also, and Zion might be able to talk about this too, but we have departmental based scholarships. And usually that comes after you've matriculated, but you can apply for scholarships within your department if they're available. And we always take, if you get an outside scholarship, that can also be applied to your financial package. So that's something I like to encourage students to do, is not only seek out the standard FAFSA merit-based scholarship at the university, but look for other things that could be, related to your passions. Like if you're interested in veterinary science, like Zion, you could look for scholarships that might be available to you.
Oh, okay. Okay. So do y'all have honors college on campus? Where I know some schools have honor colleges where you got your A students are housed in another part of campus, that sort of thing. Is that happening on your campus as well?
Yeah, so with honor stuff, I think Zion, honestly, Zion might be a little bit more like able to answer this question, because I
Okay.
know that I know for a fact that certain schools have like honors curriculum and there is some priority housing for students based on GPA, but in terms of like a formal honors college, I don't think that that's available. And Zion, would you say that was a truth statement?
Yes, I agree with her. We do have a housing area. It's called Harvey, and
Mm-hmm.
usually people who come into the school have like, I think maybe like a 3.5 or something around that higher GPA can get into this Harvey
Okay.
hall, so they can get into the nicer halls, and depending on their GPA coming into school. And then we also have a leadership club, national leadership and honors club, I believe.
Okay.
So you get into that, but you don't apply. It's something where like they send an email out to you and be like, okay, hey, we want you in this club, and then you sign up, pay your dues, stuff like that. So
Are you in extracurricular activities?
yes, I am.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good. So what do you do? What are some of the things that you participate in?
I am in like a lot of veterinarian clubs.
Okay.
One of them is Pre-Vet Club, which I was Miss Pre-Vet Club last year. And I'm also in the leadership club I was talking about, and
Okay.
some other veterinarian clubs. I also do SGA, and I think that's it.
Okay. So both of you ladies, how is the academic support on campus?
I think we have a good academic support. I know, especially if you need help, you can ask your teachers, or we have this thing called Reach, where you can reach out to people and they will tutor you in anything. You pick your time, and it's not
Okay.
just like people who have graduated. It's regular students that could be in your class or higher classes that can help you with specific academic stuff.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, to build off of that, like Zion had said, we have those specific programs for tutoring in place. There's also like kind of a separate writing center, so you can get class specific tutoring, writing center in addition to your professor's office hours. So it's kind of a triple threat in terms of making sure that you're performing or your grades are where you would want them to be.
So how are your classes? Are they lecture based? Or they just discussion?
Lecture based. But we do have involvement, especially with labs. I know veterinarian students have a lot of labs, like me, with our science classes. So you have the hands-on part of it, but then you also have the lecture part of it. So
Okay,
kind of
okay.
a mix of everything.
Okay. So, Mary Francis, if there's a student that wants to come to Tuskegee, but the GPA is not where it should be, and they might have a good ACT or SAT, is there an enrichment summer program that they can attend to push them over at the edge or into that freshman class that fall?
Right. So we have a thing in the office or kind of a status called conditionally accepted. So if we see a student who might fall into that category where it's a little bit like lopsided, like there's maybe lower test score, higher GPA, or higher test score, lower GPA, then what we would go in, and this is kind of up to the counselor's discretion, but the counselor would say, hey, I see that this is the case. Could I get an additional rec letter, or can I get a rec letter from you? Could I get a writing sample? So there are a few different ways of approaching that. If the student's on the border, we tend to really try to work with them to, if they're serious about Tuskegee, to make sure that we can accommodate or at least see that they're prepared and qualified to get into the university through other ways besides the GPA and the test score.
Okay. So we know that they're not really requiring ACT or SAT scores, at this time. But you give a test, an entrance test once the student arrives at Tuskegee, a placement test.
Oh, a placement test. I think that, and Zion, you might be able to speak to this, but I know that I think that some of the professors, and it's usually with STEM classes, they'll see
Okay.
what the highest level you've taken is, or they have to evaluate your transcript. So the department head will send the transcript to the department head, and then they'll say, okay, the student has gone through pre-calculus, they've gone through Calc 1, and from there they'll be placed into the appropriate math, appropriate science, etc. And dual enrollment AP affects that.
Okay. So in other words, they don't have to do a placement test then. It's just based on what courses they've had.
Right. Zion, did you ever have to take one? I haven't heard of professors giving out placement tests like that.
I haven't heard of the placement test, and I haven't heard of anyone tell me about it, but I know some curriculums do pre-test, to evaluate you before the specific class, but that's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I would think they would have to have some measurement of the students' capabilities, before starting class. So is your classes taught by professors or teachers' assistants?
Professors mostly.
Okay.
I haven't had a teacher assistant teach me yet, so.
Oh, great, great. Well, that's good. So you're getting the full 100%.
Yes.
Sounds great. So tell me, what are some of the things that you like about the school, Zion, about Tuskegee? So if anybody listening and interested in Tuskegee, what is it that you like mostly about it? And I believe I asked you why did you choose this school because of veterinarian, but what about it that you really like? What on campus that you like, or?
I think because before when I came to Tuskegee, I didn't really do SGA and stuff in high school. But once I came here, I think I just randomly did SGA just to try it, and I actually was good at it, and doing the pageants and stuff. And I feel like it made me more excited or more involved doing this stuff because I actually know the people and it's a closer circle, and it can get you to know more people. With high school, there's so many people. But here it's the same amount of people, but I feel like y'all know each other more. It's more family oriented, that.
Okay. So your hours on campus facilities, are they convenient for the students? Like the
Yes,
dining hall, the medical center, library?
definitely convenient, I believe. I haven't gone to the CAF in a long time.
Oh,
But
okay.
definitely a good range of hours where, if you miss something because of class, you can definitely come back and, get dinner or something like that. And then the nursing facility, I believe it's open like all day until a certain amount of time, like throughout the whole week. So I feel like that the nursing out of everything is really accessible for students. And it's in a neutral place on campus. So
Oh, okay. That sounds good. So do your students study abroad, and do you have students to come abroad to your campus?
Yeah, I
um
would say that there's a good exchange between us and international students, and that we do have a good amount of institutional study abroad opportunities that are Tuskegee led. So I know that there's a trip led to Ghana.
Okay.
I believe there's a trip led to Paris as well, like with Tuskegee faculty. So if people might be apprehensive about studying abroad, there's an opportunity to go with Tuskegee. In
Okay.
addition to that, if you say, hey, Tuskegee isn't going to South Korea, can I do that? That would be possible as well. You can go as an individual student to the university of your choice, following screening processes and doing all that with our study abroad office. But really, the opportunities and places you can go are pretty much limitless.
Oh, okay. So the school seemed. I know it's an HBCU, but what's the diverse? Is it kind of diverse? It seems to be that the percentage of the of students ranges. So how diverse is the college? Is the university? Either one of you?
it's definitely diverse. I've seen all nationalities on
Okay,
campus. Yeah, I think it's pretty diverse. Yeah.
well, that's good. That's good.
Right. And I think Tuskegee also is great about having, lots of different diversity, whether that be socioeconomic, racial, religious. I know that especially in the grad school, there are a lot of there are probably a higher concentration of international students, especially Saudi students, because the
Okay.
university actually started a Saudi day because of that connection that we have with Saudi Arabia.
Oh, okay. Okay. So tell me about some athletes and some sports talk. So is it a basketball team or a football team? What do you have? Football?
We
Yeah,
have both.
yeah.
Both? Okay.
I think
Okay.
we have. I'm trying to remember all the sports teams, but it's like volleyball,
Mhm.
um, softball, and then men and women's basketball, men and women's track and field,
Okay.
and then there's the football team and the
And
baseball
we have
team.
tennis.
Okay.
I think
Do you
that's
have
it.
golf as well?
I think that I was told that there's like a golf PE, but there isn't a
Yeah.
golf team. And then we also have certain intramural teams, such as we've got, you can play soccer, and then there are also esports. And then if you wanted to form a team for any type of sport, they're pretty open to that.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, it sounds like is there a lot to do on campus, Zion?
Yes, there is. I think our campus is really active, and we have a lot of events. Where we try to do hybrid in person and online because of COVID. But we're trying to get everything back to normal. But we're still doing hybrid things, so a certain
Okay.
amount of people can come in person, then the rest of us, watch online or stuff like that. So, but yeah,
Okay.
there is definitely a lot. You'll never get bored on campus. So.
Oh, okay. So how is the surrounding community? Do you feel safe on that campus?
Yes, our TUPD, our police that are on campus, they're usually make their rounds a lot, especially at nighttime, just to, watch if anything happens. So I feel like
No.
it's good, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good. So do you have any advice for students that want to attend Tuskegee? And that's a question for both of you.
I would say my advice, kind of on the counselor side, is as you get ready to apply, just kind of decide whether you're going to be test optional, whether you're going to be standard admit, and then our application opens every year on
Okay.
August the 1st. So,
Okay.
the sooner the better, just to make sure that you do get in on that merit-based scholarship funds, especially, and then also to be aware of other deadlines such as the FAFSA or when that opens, which is in October, just so it's a more seamless process. Because the earlier you start, the less time the less of a rush it is to get stuff in and make sure you're processed.
Okay. And if you want to come like the second semester, when should you begin applying?
Right. If you wanted to come in the spring, the deadline to submit that is in November. So
November, okay.
you would probably, at this point, you'd really want to be getting a move on. But the application for fall opens August 1 and then closes July 22nd, or not July 22nd, excuse me, July 2022. So there's a lot of time. But again, the later you apply, the less likely it is that you'll get that institutional merit-based aid.
Yeah, so you're saying that apply to if you're coming in, apply and start the application process in August, but also your financial aid as well.
Right. So the financial aid process will get started as soon as you apply to Tuskegee, because we'll have your profile and we'll be thinking about the merit-based aid. But then the second piece to that is the FAFSA, which is important as well, just to make sure students are financially cleared and processed. And if you need to apply for loans or any other type of assistance, that the university can make sure that that happens in a timely fashion. And then it's not like, oh, suddenly my classes get dropped the first week of school because, I forgot something, or this aid didn't go through, or that.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Does the campus have pay any tribute to the Commodores? Are you familiar with the Commodores? Lionel Richie?
Oh, the Commodores.
They attended Tuskegee.
Yeah, Zion, have you seen anything like, they might actually be in the, I think there's a Legacy Museum. I haven't been in it personally, but.
I've been in that museum and I haven't seen anything towards them, but I know my freshman year, if I believe, right, he came, this is when Dr. Lily McNair was our president. He came and talked at one of the things where she had one of her conferences or something. But I remember seeing like a big American Idol bus and he came. So
Okay. Well, he was famous way before American Idol. Yeah. He and Tom Joyner was also a DJ from the Tom Joyner, was also a student at Tuskegee, graduate from Tuskegee. So what advice would you give students, Zion, that want to attend? What can you tell them that would inspire them to come to Tuskegee?
I would say when you come here, it's, be active, because I feel like that was the best thing to get me out there and to like really have fun. I feel like it's so much funner when I'm on SGA or a part of something, a club, anything where you can do events, be with your class, everything. I feel like that's the main thing when you're here. For the academic side, I would say stay focused, because even though you're taking similar classes at high school, it's not the same. Like, you're not going to have someone to guide you. You're going to have to guide yourself, even though your teachers can help you. But you're not going to have that person and your mom and dad saying like, oh, you have an assignment due here, or
right,
you have this to do, or you have this to do. So I feel like, that's the one thing I had to adjust, not having my mom there, like, hey, Zion, you got to do this, you got to do this. So I had to learn to adjust, make myself do this, because, that was the main thing, you're going to have to do is your academics. So I feel like that's the main thing you need to focus on. Definitely, get help if you need it, because the teachers are always here to help. They have open hours. You can go anytime. But yeah, academic wise, I would just say stay focused and guide yourself continuously.
You sound like you're very disciplined, Zion, and that's a good.
I am now. Yeah,
that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
You.
Yeah. So, what advice would you, Mary Francis, give students that want to apply, as far as the process and what all they need to do? I know you mentioned submitting by August 1st, but is there anything else you would like to share that would help a student that's considering Tuskegee?
Right. I think something helpful to know is that we have 3 places to apply. We're on the Common App. We have an institutional application that you can access through our website. And then we're also on the Common Black Common App. So there are 3 different ways. And for our institutional application, there's no fee. So that's another thing that you don't have to worry about when you apply to Tuskegee. So there are those 3. If I had to give a rundown, there are those 3 ways to apply. We're open from August 1st, 2021 to July 2022.
Okay.
So you've got a good bit of time to definitely work things out and make sure that you have all the files you need, transcript, test scores for standard, transcript, essay, and letter of recommendation for test optional. And then be on the lookout in your emails, just for communication from the university, so that you can then act on that and start the process of matriculating if you do decide to come to Tuskegee. But also one thing to know is that I would say that the Tuskegee faculty and in our office as well, we're always open to questions. If you ever need to reach out to me, I'd be more than happy to walk you through something or help you if that need arises. Also, feel free to reach out to professors in your interest, kind of in your interested college or major, because again, they're very friendly. And if you have major specific questions, they'd be more than happy to just elaborate on that and tell you everything that you might need to know before making the decision to enter as a veterinary med student like Zion or a nursing student, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, for those of you that's interested, Mary Francis' email address is located at the bottom of the screen, so you can email her at tuskegee.edu. It's mlemke@tuskegee.edu. The office number is 334-724-4831. And you can also reach out to Zion. And her information is just as Zion, is it Zion L? ZHZhill8514@tuskegee.edu. Ladies, I've enjoyed the conversation with you this afternoon. You've been really wonderful. I hope you've been a help to the community and to those that's listening. Zion, it's good to seeing you. I haven't seen you since you was a little girl, so it's nice to see you again. And I really appreciate both you and Mary Francis in joining in and participating with me with this virtual tour. So have a blessed evening and a safe week.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.